Welcome again to another in the series of Real People, Real Choices, where you have the opportunity to work on a real-life case study and choose the best solution. Today's case study is from Chapter 5 and explores the concept of market positioning. So let's have a look at decision time at Tourism New South Wales. This case study looks at promoting Sydney as a tourist destination and how to best position Sydney in a highly competitive marketplace. This task is a prime responsibility for Tourism New South Wales, which is a state government agency. One of their main objectives is to build and convert awareness of New South Wales destinations in target markets. It's important to remember that marketing a tourist destination is just like marketing most other products, so the same principles apply. This case study examines the best approach to creating a distinctive market positioning for Destination Sydney. Although international tourists are an important market, this case focuses upon Tourism New South Wales' challenge to promote Sydney to intrastate and interstate markets. Their main domestic markets are regional New South Wales, the ACT, South East Queensland and Victoria. Tourism is a very competitive industry, with all states and many regions within Australia competing for the tourist's dollar. There is a significant amount of promotion, each highlighting that state's unique benefits. For example, you've probably heard the taglines, "Where else but Queensland?" and "You'll love every piece of Victoria." Up to May 2004, Tourism New South Wales was using the tagline, "Feel free in New South Wales." One of their main forms of promotion was a television commercial featuring the popular John Farnham song, "That's Freedom." However, New South Wales Tourism was concerned that this promotion was general to regional New South Wales. It did not focus on Sydney enough. And as Sydney is the main drawcard to New South Wales, it was decided that a new approach was required that primarily focused on Sydney as a destination. There were three target markets primarily of interest. These were pampadors. As the name suggests, they like to travel well and usually stay at luxury hotels. Weekend escapists. They're more frequent travellers, often getting away for a weekend only. And compatriots, which is the attractive family market segment. Tourism New South Wales identified three options for this challenge. These were Option 1, refresh and relaunch the Feel Free campaign and explore ways to make the brand positioning more relevant to Sydney. That is, build on the awareness and positioning already established by the existing campaign, but just make it more Sydney focused. Option 2, explore new concepts for marketing Sydney without using an external advertising agency. With this option, a new market positioning for Sydney as a tourist destination will be developed and implemented. However, the actual positioning concepts will be created by the marketing staff of Tourism New South Wales. Option 3. Initiate an advertising agency tender process to generate an all-new concept for marketing Sydney. This option is essentially the same as Option 2, with the only difference being that a professional advertising agency will be responsible for creating the new positioning concepts. Now you know the three options. What would you decide? Now that you've made your decision, let's have a look at which other options other people would choose and why. First we'll see a student's view, and then see what an academic thinks. The student selected Option 2 as the best option. With this choice, the team at Tourism New South Wales will develop the creative concepts themselves without the use of an external advertising agency. What were the main reasons for the student selection? Because it's more exciting to work on the campaign yourself, and it's fun working on creative ideas. It will save the organisation money, as there will be no creative fees payable to the advertising agency, and it will mean that the internal staff will be more accountable for the success of the overall campaign. Now let's have a look at the academics' choice, which was options 1, 2 and 3 as all being possibilities, depending on other factors. For example, Option 3 may be ruled out if the organisation doesn't have a suitable budget, and Option 1 may be ruled out if the existing campaign does not research well. Her final recommendation, budget permitting, was to develop multiple concepts, one based on the existing campaign, and then new concepts developed internally, as well as through external advertising agencies. This will create competition and should lead to the creation of a great campaign. Okay, Let's find out what Tourism New South Wales did in real life. They selected option 3, which was creating a new positioning concept for Sydney using an external advertising agency. Their choice was based on a process of elimination. They ruled out option 1 because they considered the challenge of relaunching a campaign was still a costly and time-consuming project. So why go to all that trouble just for a modification? And option 2 was also ruled out because Tourism New South Wales only had a small marketing team and really did not have the capacity to develop suitable creative concepts. This left option 3, and as they planned to make a significant investment in this new campaign in terms of total promotional costs, they thought it was best to do it right and use a professional advertising agency that employed creative experts. So what happened after Tourism New South Wales selected option 3? The tagline that was created for the new campaign was, "There's no place in the world like Sydney." The fully integrated campaign was implemented by extensive advertising across most media, including TV, press, cinema and online. And to quote the case outcome, the campaign has been effective in lifting Sydney's profile as a world-class city among key target audiences. Now let's see how we can use the textbook to help us with a decision like this. Firstly, let's split the decision into its two components. The first and most important question is whether a new positioning campaign is needed. If the best approach is to modify the existing campaign, then we should select option 1. However, if we decide that we should implement a new campaign, then we have a second question to answer. Should we develop the creative concepts in-house, which is option 2, or should we utilise an advertising agency, which is option 3? Let's deal with the first question first. We know from the textbook that positioning is defined as developing a marketing strategy aimed at influencing how a particular market segment perceives a product in comparison to the competition. Okay, so what does this actually mean for us? Well, we know that the product that we're marketing is Sydney, and we need to create a clear understanding of the benefits of visiting Sydney, particularly in comparison to other domestic destinations. And of course, these benefits need to be relevant to the target markets. You'll note that this aspect of positioning is discussed starting on page 180 of the textbook. In terms of developing the actual positioning strategy, the textbook highlights that the first step is to analyse competitors' positions in the marketplace. One of the competitors that we should identify is actually Regional New South Wales, even though that is our product as well. It is actually quite a common situation for firms to market competing products. For example, Coca-Cola markets both Mount Franklin and Pump, as well as Diet Coke and Coke Zero. Therefore, it will be just as important for us to differentiate Sydney from Regional New South Wales as it is for us to differentiate it from Queensland or Victoria, which suggests that a new positioning approach is required. The next task of positioning, which is outlined on page 181, is to offer a product with a competitive advantage. That is, why it's better than competitors. Sydney would have many unique benefits to promote, most of which would be unrelated to the unique offerings of Regional New South Wales. Therefore, because Sydney needs to communicate unique benefits, and because it also needs to be clearly distinguished from the offerings and the image of Regional New South Wales, a new positioning campaign is needed. This leads us to the second question. Do we need to use an advertising agency? This question is a little bit outside the scope of this particular chapter. However, it does state in the case that Tourism New South Wales has a relatively small marketing area, and it can be assumed that the organisation is likely to invest quite heavily in the campaign, so it would be illogical not to use a professional advertising agency, as they're specialists in this type of creative work. This means that option 3 is the best choice for this decision. That's another Real People, Real Choices exercise. We hope it was beneficial, and we hope to see you again working on another case soon.